So thank you very much for hosting us here for this interview here in the offices of Worldcoo. It's a pleasure to meet you, Berta.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here as well, seeing what we can answer and hope to bring Worldcoo to the world, at least in Italy.
Cool, cool. So we really like to start our interviews with some, we call them out of the pod questions to break the ice and that are not related to the startup world, to business, etc. And I would like to start with one question in particular. What is your typical breakfast in the morning? What do you eat to start the day?
Well, I think what I normally have is an orange juice.
Okay.
And then probably it will be a sandwich with fouet. Do you know what fouet is?
No. Is it like the tomato, like the bread with tomato? It's kind of famous in Spain, no?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the Catalan way, the Catalan entrepà.
What's the name? What's the name?
Entrepà.
Entrepà.
Okay. That's the Catalan name, or bocadillo in Spanish. So you just put bread, tomato, then you slice some of the charcuterie that you want that day, and my favorite one is fouet, and that's it. Some oil, and ya está.
Okay, so salty breakfast, nice. And imagine that you're inviting one of your idols to a dinner, and you need to cook. What can you cook? Yeah, what you decide to prepare for your guests?
I think.
Are you a good chef, first of all?
I think I'm fine. I think I can manage. My grandma was a very good chef, and I'm trying to figure it out, but I'm still young, so I think I can still learn. But I would try to do probably like a tortilla de patatas.
Okay.
And yeah, that would be it. Because like I don't think I'm able to do paella. Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, a bit complicated.
Maybe
but very traditional as well, no?
Yeah.
Tortilla de patata.
I like to bring a little bit of culture. If someone from a foreign person is coming, then I would like to bring some culture. Yeah.
Cool. So let's start with the real questions about Worldcoo. Do you want to pitch and present it for those who might not know Worldcoo at all? What you do? What is let's say the goal of Worldcoo, the vision behind it, and a bit of let's say the history of this startup.
Okay. Well, I'm Berta, and I'm like probably you will know in communications and PR for Worldcoo. I'm very new at the company, but I think it's one of the greatest opportunities I had so far because I think it's one of the most fulfilling jobs you can have. For the ones that you don't know what Worldcoo is, it started some years ago. It's quite new for a company. It started in 2012, so now we were celebrating like the anniversary is 10 years, so it's good for us. But yeah, it started in 2012 with the online mode of creating like a free tool in e-commerces, where the users of these e-commerces could fund other projects for NGOs. But the fun fact of Worldcoo is that the CEOs, Aureli and Sergi, actually they met like a lot of years before and they've been friends for a lot of years. And I don't know if you knew that, but at the beginning what they tried to create was an NGO that created engineering projects for like cooperation, international cooperation, etc., etc. Then they realized that funding these projects was very difficult. And that's how, like a couple of years later, in 2012, they created this tool that I was telling you about. Okay. Does that make sense?
Cool. Yeah, for sure. And right now, what is, let's say, the goal of Worldcoo? On which projects you are working on especially? There might be something very interesting to tell.
Well, Worldcoo is currently in Spain, and as you will see probably with my colleague Rossella also in Italy. And in Spain we work with different NGOs from Spain, but what we say in Worldcoo always is that we just not work with the NGOs, but we work with projects, because the money that the users or the clients from supermarkets or whatever that they bring to the project is for the project and not the NGO. And some of, like, for example, the big NGOs that you may know about, may hear about, it's for example, I don't know, Cruz Roja, like Red Cross.
Okay.
Yeah. or like Save the Children, or like these ones are one of the biggest. We usually try to be as multiple and as diverse as possible. So in the projects, in the team of projects, in the department of projects, they try to find different projects to like help either environmental or social causes.
Okay.
But it is true that when emergencies arise, then there is like a focus on those emergencies.
Some specific
exactly.
topics.
Like I think you call it inundations, like
of
the
course.
floods.
Yeah. When it happens, okay.
Exactly, in Pakistan now, for example, or when all the conflict in Ukraine arose with the war of Russia, then a lot of companies that we work with, they wanted to like have these projects to like try to help these people. So like it is true that when emergencies arise, we try to put a focus on it, also because like sometimes the companies ask it themselves. But we also try to be very diverse and try to help small NGOs that are trying to start and so on.
Okay, cool. So there is also a lot of focus on what might be not only general topics, general issues, but also what might be, let's say, important in that specific moment, like, I don't know, crisis in Ukraine, inundation, this kind of issues. Okay. And today, how many people are working in Worldcoo? How are you structured in terms of teams? Also in other countries, I guess. We mentioned about Rossella.
So here in Spain, we have, I think, more or less, we're like 14 people, more or less. We have the department of projects, where you can find Miriam and Claudia, and they are the ones who try to talk to the NGOs, see that the NGOs pass a test that we have to see that they are actually transparent, and like they are social committed, and that the money will go to a specific project. Then we have the more a day-to-day life, so you have the financial department, and then you have like the more day-to-day life and CAM department, which is with Eva, and then you have more like the commercials. So like the people from our team that try to go and talk to the companies, for example, a big supermarket or a clothes chain, and then they go present the project of Worldcoo and ask them if they want to participate with us.
I see. And what do you think are the biggest challenges when you, let's say, are working as a startup in this kind of context of NGOs and we could say also social innovation issues? What are the biggest challenges that you also are feeling now that you're working here?
I think on one hand, to find new companies that want to work with us, because at the end, us and the NGOs will rely on the companies where these clients or users can make their roundup at the end of their purchase. And that's like maybe the commercials team who have to struggle with that. Then also, because you're a startup, of course, then it is always difficult at the beginning to get funding itself and so on. And maybe one of the struggles I would say is to like, for Worldcoo itself, is to find a way that the people will not get tired of doing these roundups at the end of their purchase. So in the long term, that Worldcoo still continues and it has all its social commitment and you can follow their values, because at the end, everyone can still do it day to day, and that they not get tired to find this, like, I don't know how to say it, but find this technique to like improve this and maintain it for a lot of years. That I think is the greatest challenge for Worldcoo.
I see. But you're also very young and still studying, right? I mean, completing your study.
I
am. What is the, let's say, most interesting thing of joining a startup like Worldcoo from a student point of view?
So, as you said, I'm now studying a master in international relations, and for me, one of the biggest goal to enter in Worldcoo was to see this cooperation between companies and NGOs. Because at the end, for the company, it's super satisfying because they are doing it for free, and it's their users or their clients that make these roundups. So they don't win anything apart from having a good social corporate responsibility. And then at the end of the day, you're always helping someone, either in the environment, some animals, or as a bigger cause like an emergency or so on. For me, being a student it's just crazy to like be able to compassionate, like combine both things and find a balance. But I think it like also helps me a lot to see that what I'm studying actually matters and can make a change in the life of someone or something. So for me, that's my
That's the
fulfillment.
best.
Yeah.
Okay. And because you also mentioned it about let's say corporate social responsibility from a company point of view, and I think that there are many interesting projects that are super concrete and super, let's say, forward thinking, but there is also a lot of brainwashing for some companies, and what is the trade-off in your opinion? Like how to manage these kind of situations from a startup point of view? How can startups and also Worldcoo with its kind of mindset, fresh mindset, interesting projects help in this context?
As to the companies, you mean?
Yes. Yes.
I think like what Worldcoo brings is like the technology aspect. So I don't know if this is what you're asking exactly, but I think Worldcoo brings this technology aspect where, for example, if you think of a supermarket, they want to help these NGOs, and maybe they can like ask people to buy food and then they send this food to the emergency of Ukraine, for example.
Okay, I see.
But with Worldcoo you create a year-to-year commitment, and Worldcoo provides you the technological tool to have in your POS, like the thing where you pay. Okay. And with this, you can ask your users to make this social commitment, which at the same time creates this engagement with the company and your user, because at the end of the day, it's the company who's providing this service to the user in a sense. And the user feels better or feels fulfilled because they are helping someone or something. They can of course choose if they want to do it or not, and in some companies they change the projects every now and then, so that also helps this engagement to see if you maybe prefer to help with social causes and not that much of environmental causes. You can also, it's always at the end your choice, but I think Worldcoo brings this tool that is the technology, and it inserts it into the company, and the company then creates this engagement with their user that makes this connection. I think as for like a marketing communications department and point of view, it's just great to have this connection between company and user. Okay,
but so I can see from what you said that there is a lot of also technological aspects in Worldcoo. Do you consider yourself as a tech company?
As a tech company?
Yes.
I think one of the values from Worldcoo is to the innovation, and as if you look LinkedIn and you can find Aureli is the CEO and he's an engineer himself. Okay. So I think they provide these two senses, the social commitment and the engineering combined, and then they create this technology department that is actually providing the service. Okay. The rest of the departments, we just like help everything make sense, and like that everything is according to plan and fulfilling the goals and fulfilling the social commitment or environmental commitment. I do think that the tech part for Worldcoo is the most important, because that's what it makes us different from the rest. It's that we're providing this service. And also maybe that transforms Worldcoo as kind of attractive in terms of financing from external, because I guess that there might be also some financing rounds, probably some investors in Worldcoo, and this technological aspect might be an important value added, no? Yeah, I think that's one of the most important aspects. I'm not sure exactly when, but I think they also got some recognition on the beginning of the years from the European Union, and that was because of like the technological aspect and so on. But maybe check it. I have another question. What is the biggest learning that you had since you are here in Worldcoo? Oof. I think, as for me personally, I think that a lot of people have told me during the years that maybe working in NGOs and startups doesn't make a change, or it doesn't make a difference for like either the society or the market. And I think that working in Worldcoo, you actually can see that from nothing, you find what is missing. Like NGOs were missing how to fund their projects. Then Aureli and Sergi came with this idea. And then from that, it's been 10 years where they've helped more than 500 projects. I think people from different 30 countries have like contributed in these roundups, and like the number of donations is crazy. So, and you see that this is going up, and I think for me to prove to those people that startups and NGOs don't matter, but they actually do, and prove that point, for me it's very fulfilling, because it's not about proving the point, but at the same time, as I said, Worldcoo helps so many things, so many projects, and so many people, and even environment. And if you feel more attached with some and more attached to another, you always will find your place in Worldcoo, I think. So that for me is the best part. Okay,
so it's a great learning. And if we look into the future, what is the, let's say, the vision, the goals that Worldcoo has in its mind for the next years?
Yeah, I think one of the principal goals for Worldcoo is to expand on the rest of Spain, because now we have some of the biggest supermarket chains, for example Capravo, Eroski, and Bonpreu Esclat. These ones are in Spain, in Catalonia. And there are so many more that we could achieve to get to them, and this would bring such a huge impact in terms of donations, and therefore in terms of like funding, that would be able to help much more NGOs that they are queuing for us and asking us, please pick me as an NGO. So we could like have a bigger like market where we could include much more NGOs, and therefore much more projects that will be able to help more people. And I think the first step is to acquire that in Spain, and after that try to improve other markets like Italy with Rossella and etc.
That might be more similar to consolidated market that you have like here in Spain. And still from a student point of view, let's say that now you're waking up every day, every morning to come here to Worldcoo, to work, do your milestones and projects. But what is the thing that really allows you to wake up and say, okay, today I will start a great day. Today it will be a great day because I will go to work. I will go to work for Worldcoo. I will have an impact. What is the thing that is driving you at the moment to wake up and to work here?
Well, from the Department of Communication and PR, I think for me one of the things is the labor and like my experience as a professional, and then more like a personal experience. So for like the experience in the professional side, I think it helps me develop all my tasks as a community manager in just like doing it every day. It helps me see what you can improve, what can you not. Like for example, I work with the social media, and we've seen like a crazy impact, for example, in LinkedIn, and I'm trying to figure out why that is and how we can like continue with that impact and create engagement with our users. But then also we have this part of like Worldcoo is very well known for like going to events and conferences and like explaining what we do, and I kind of organize that on like from the behind, and then either the CEOs or Borja, who is our correspondent in Madrid, goes and like show like the face of Worldcoo and explain what we're doing. And I think that from my part is like what I think, okay, now we have to, this week I have to prepare this, and actually I can see like an outcome. I can see that my actions have an outcome. So that is like for the professional bit, I like it. And then for the personal bit is what I've been saying so far. I think like you can actually see that the money that it is gained with different users, at the end of the day, you know that it's very transparent and that they will go to those projects, and that at the end you can even talk to the NGOs and see what are they doing with the money, which actions are they taking, etc.
So a real impact and concrete results from the money you're collecting. And last question, on yourself, how do you see, let's say, in the future? Is it something that you like, the NGO industry? I mean, not the industry, the sector. Would you like to continue your career here in Worldcoo? What's your personal next steps?
It's a tricky question.
Yes.
I think I would like to stay in this sector because it's proving me that it really has an impact and that you can like change a lot of things with very small donations and you can make great changes.
Okay.
So I do think that the like how things are going in the world right now, with like all the wars that are going with climate change, etc., etc. I don't want to be negative.
Yeah.
I think like being part of an NGO or at least an institution that tries to help all those who they need to be helped or try to make an impact in like climate change fighting, etc., etc. I think that's the best. And if I can do that from my role of a communication department and PR department in any company, institution, or NGO, I think that would be great. Cool. I would like to stay in Worldcoo for a bit because I'm very new and I want to stay a little bit more. So we'll see if that can be, but yeah.
Something that was really interesting and you mentioned before, it's LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I
find it very interesting.
Yeah, but do you think that LinkedIn is the best environment for a communication point of view for Worldcoo, or which kind of target do you have when you think about a communication strategy? What kind of touch points might be interesting?
Yeah, when I first arrived and they explained to me like we have Twitter, Facebook and LinkedIn.
Okay.
I thought, how come they don't have Instagram, for example, or how come they don't have TikTok? Because I'm young and I use them every day.
Okay.
So I thought so. But then after seeing it and every day, I think our target is, that's what I think, because one of the difficult things and struggles for Worldcoo is to actually know who are the people behind these donations. So who is actually our target?
Yeah.
Although you could
understanding who is willing to really make the donations. That might not be I don't know, like a high school student.
Exactly. So in my mind, our more or less standard is like people who at least have an economical stable position that can make these donations, or for example those people who go on the everyday and make very small donations that doesn't make a change in their credit card at the end of the month.
Okay.
But I think there is also a lot of part that we don't know, and that's also one of the struggles of Worldcoo, to actually know who is our target, because at the same time NGOs are also our target and companies are also our target.
Okay.
So it's like we have different segmented targets. In this social media we try to just combine everything and be descriptive what we do with the donations that happen, where these donations go, and if you check our tweets, it's basically explaining these donations will go to this project and this is what is gonna be done.
Okay.
And like providing the links and information where you can make a donation yourself in the corporate website to like provide your donation. But I do think that LinkedIn, for example, is working very well, because at the same time Worldcoo is working with companies and LinkedIn is very active in this sense. And like a lot of persons that represent each company, they do like to have this engagement in LinkedIn.
Okay, I saw. But with respect to the other competitors that you might have, how do you distinguish yourself when it's in terms of communication and marketing? What's the way that the positioning that you're trying to have, I don't know, campaigns that you might have in mind?
The thing is that because we work with companies, most of the time the companies take the role in this sense.
Okay.
So like the biggest companies, they do have their own marketing department with a lot of people in it. And normally how it works in Worldcoo is that we just take care that everything follows our values of transparency and innovation and social commitment, and we try to make a statement of what is the NGO project needs. So normally it's the company that does this part of like creating like, I don't know, maybe more visual designs and like putting all the material and flyers within their companies to provide the information to their users.
About the project, okay.
Although beforehand we've been behind it, and like we've been trying to see how it is the best option so that they can understand, because we actually know better how the users will understand or not the things.
Okay.
So that's how it works normally. But apart from that, I think our like marketing or social media goal is to like be very clear and very transparent of what we do with the money and what we do with the donations of the people.
Okay, and so I have one last question.
Right.
Let's say that usually we also here in these days we interview the other startups, and we always ask to the founders what is the best suggestion, recommendations that they received from a professional point of view since they founded the startup, no? And most of them, they all said like to keep pushing, like never give up, that the idea is that you keep working on it and there will be a kind of click at the end that will make things happen. Nothing will be working perfectly forever, but there will be a kind of shift. From your point of view, since you joined Worldcoo, what is the best suggestion, recommendation that you received from people that you might know, or from your colleagues, since you're here in your, let's say, job scope, in your role here in Worldcoo? What's the thing that really...
That makes a change, you mean?
Yes, the best suggestion that you received since you're here, that might not be related to, as we asked before, the learning, but it's a kind of suggestion that you received also from your professional, personal growth.
Well, I think like maybe like you create a lot of contacts within Worldcoo, and that for me is also very interesting because you work with a lot of companies, and you have a day-to-day connection and like engagement with them, so like you can get to know a lot of people, and then on the other side you know all the NGOs. So like for people, like a person for me that I'm interested in both these sectors, that's incredible, because in just one day you can create so many connections, and then you have to have this routine where you talk with them and see that the contents make a sense and everything. So for me that is like one of the recommendations when I got here, and my other department's colleagues said to me like, this is gonna be a great opportunity because you're gonna get to know a lot of people, and also you can learn a lot from other people. So everyone has their own way of working. They're different companies and they're different NGOs with different objectives, so you have to like adapt to all these necessities and needs. And I think for me that's a really challenging thing that like makes me want to do it every day, like try to understand what do they need. Okay, they need this, and then the other one on the other hand they need something different.
Okay, so also learning from the others, from the network. Okay, that's amazing. Thank you very much for your answers.
Thank you.
And it was great to be here.
Thank you all.
Ciao Rossella, innanzitutto grazie mille per partecipare anche tu a questa intervista su Hotpot Italia e per raccontare Worldcoo e le sue iniziative, il suo modello di innovazione. E mi piacerebbe raccontare un po' anche la tua esperienza, come sei entrata in contatto con Worldcoo e la tua esperienza lavorativa, che cosa fai in particolare qui in Italia.
Intanto grazie per questa opportunità, e mi fa molto piacere essere con voi. La mia esperienza con Worldcoo è stato un incontro fantastico, perché il mio ex direttore, io lavoravo già per una multinazionale spagnola, conosceva molto bene Sergi Figueres, che è il fondatore di Worldcoo, il quale mi ha chiesto se volevo aiutarli nello sviluppo in Italia. Io mi occupo per l'appunto di questo, di sviluppare il progetto Worldcoo, che credo sia fantastico, estremamente innovativo, qui in Italia, con le difficoltà del paese e del caso. Evidentemente andiamo un po' a rilento rispetto al programma che ci siamo dati, ma con tantissime adesioni da parte di aziende e soprattutto di entità sociali.
Esatto, infatti precedentemente noi abbiamo intervistato Berta proprio in Spagna, a Barcellona, che ci ha raccontato la sua esperienza, quello che fa Worldcoo, e mi piacerebbe molto capire con te anche quali sono le sfide di fare la stessa cosa in Italia a questo punto.
Innanzitutto Worldcoo crea sistemi innovativi di raccolta fondi destinati alle entità sociali ed è per questo che noi entriamo in relazione con grandi partner internazionali, piattaforme di pagamento che sono dei giganti a livello internazionale, e quello che cerchiamo di fare con loro è sviluppare un sistema innovativo di raccolta fondi che noi chiamiamo arrotondamento solidale, che dà la possibilità al cliente che si reca presso un punto vendita fisico e paga con carta di credito di poter arrotondare il ticket di spesa donando anche semplicemente 10 centesimi al progetto sociale finanziato dall'azienda stessa. Questo sembra molto semplice, è un metodo per rendere anche democratica la donazione, il che mi piace molto dirlo perché è proprio la novità di Worldcoo, però non è così semplice poi nella sua attuazione, proprio perché parliamo di responsabilità sociale, parliamo di un mondo etico e spesso i grandi partner con cui ci confrontiamo, nonostante la volontà di partecipare, aderire e fare, sono coinvolti anche in grandi cambiamenti, soprattutto in questo contesto così cangiante come quello che abbiamo visto durante il Covid e post-Covid. Quindi sicuramente la difficoltà principale è appunto questa, dare la priorità a un progetto che parla di eticità, parla di sociale e parla di grandi progetti sociali. Come ben sai, lo spot di Worldcoo è appunto piccole donazioni per grandi cause. Quindi rendere democratica la donazione è appunto questo, dare uno strumento che serva per donare anche pochi centesimi, ma per poi realizzare grandi progetti sociali.
Certo, e secondo te poi anche perché proprio l'Italia, dopo la Spagna, perché è stata scelta l'Italia? Per delle similitudini, per un mercato potenziale? Qual è il motivo in particolare?
Sicuramente per entrambe le ragioni che tu hai esposto, tanto per similitudine, per familiarità, ma soprattutto per sensibilità nei confronti anche dei progetti sociali, e perché appunto ci sono grandi entità sociali qui, grandi ONG che ci hanno anche sostenuto, dato l'appoggio e richiesto anche il nostro intervento. Quindi le ragioni sono molteplici, sicuramente la Spagna è molto vicina, anche molto, molto in linea con quello che è la nostra cultura, anche rispetto alla responsabilità sociale per l'appunto.
Certo, e invece parlando anche un po' del tuo ruolo e del tuo percorso, tu che tipo di, diciamo, percorso sia di studi sia lavorativo hai avuto prima di arrivare a questa nuova esperienza, questa nuova avventura in Italia per Worldcoo?
Io mi sono laureata giovanissima e ho fatto poi un MBA in Spagna. Sono rientrata in Italia dopo 5 anni all'estero tra la Spagna e la Germania, e qui ho incontrato una multinazionale spagnola che si occupava allora di retail in Italia.
Okay.
E ho lavorato con loro 20 anni. Dopo loro ho conosciuto Worldcoo e devo dire un settore straordinario. Per me il mondo delle entità sociali è un mondo completamente nuovo, delle ONG è un mondo nuovo. Lavorare nel settore significa lavorare veramente con persone che hanno una grande partecipazione anche in ciò che fanno, non lo fanno tanto per, non che non ci sia questo nel retail, però è molto molto evidente e molto molto sentito. E partecipare appunto a qualcosa che si realizza. Noi abbiamo realizzato più di 700 progetti sociali e partecipare a tutto questo è veramente un onore, se mi consenti, Matteo.
Certo, certo, ma potete anche spoilerare magari qualche progetto in arrivo o raccontare qualche progetto importante che è stato un po' una milestone anche in Italia?
Sì, abbiamo qualche progetto molto importante in arrivo, anche con dei gruppi rinomati, però io spero di potertelo raccontare una volta realizzato il tutto e anche con dei risultati concreti. Ti posso dire che stiamo lavorando veramente intensamente con importanti piattaforme di pagamento come Next, come Worldline, Ingenico, come Adyen e sono con noi entità sociali importanti, grandi e piccole, perché stiamo coinvolgendo tanto le entità importanti come Teleton, Save the Children, Make a Wish, come entità molto più piccole, Casa di Ox, che è un'entità, una ONG piccolina che si occupa a livello locale, Lombardia, Piemonte, quindi veramente spaziamo un po' dal grande al piccolo, cercando di poter apportare quanto più possibile e nel breve tempo possibile, però non sempre è realizzabile in Italia il breve, ecco.
Sì, 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 e con tutte le sue sfide anche burocratiche che ne fanno parte. Ma invece se diciamo ci sta ascoltando un ragazzo o una ragazza che magari sta finendo l'università e vuole incominciare entrare nel mondo del lavoro, e ovviamente magari ha in testa la grande azienda in cui lavorare, anche l'azienda retail, come menzionavi tu prima, tu cosa gli diresti per, ovviamente magari non convincerla, però raccontargli delle opportunità, delle belle esperienze che può fare lavorando nel mondo anche delle ONG o per progetti come Worldcoo? Cosa sono, diciamo, i valori aggiunti che ci possono essere rispetto a un'esperienza aziendale, diciamo?
Allora, intento di dire che tante ONG sono strutturate veramente in modo aziendale, quindi
Sì.
molto strutturate e quindi con diversi dipartimenti che si occupano di diverse... e questo è importante soprattutto per un ragazzo che si affaccia al mondo del lavoro, potersi dare una struttura, perché questo vale poi per qualsiasi cosa si faccia e anche se si, come me, attraversano settori diversi. Eh, la differenza reale è veramente il sentire, che è molto evidente quando si lavora con o per o nelle entità sociali,
Certo.
il senso di responsabilità nei confronti del proprio lavoro. Non che questo non si abbia nel privato, si ha, a volte si corre molto, si mira, si guarda semplicemente al risultato e qui però il risultato è veramente molto grande perché l'impatto sul sociale è molto grande, quindi c'è molto questo sentire. Non so se sono riuscita.
Certo, certo, certo. Ma e se invece dovessi, diciamo, descrivere Worldcoo e i suoi progetti, il suo impatto, come dicevi tu, che porta nel mondo in 3 parole, quali sarebbero queste parole?
Innovazione,
Ok?
responsabilità e sensibilità.
Sensibilità. Ok,
Sensibilità. Guarda, la prima parola con il mio capo è sempre come stai, come sta la tua famiglia, che è un valore importante. Quindi
queste che...
sensibilità anche, sensibilità nei confronti di chi collabora e di chi partecipa al progetto nelle diverse forme, che può essere Matteo perché viene e ci fa un'intervista e ci dà l'opportunità di raccontarci, come può essere un possibile potenziale cliente, tra virgolette, o come può essere un dipendente.
Certo, 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 ma poi anche la sensibilità come grande valore aggiunto a livello di empatia, di rapporto, di relazione che puoi instaurare, che appunto sia un cliente, un dipendente, un giovane intervistatore come me, quindi sì, da tutti i punti di vista. Ok.
E spero che tu l'abbia respirato quando sei stato a Barcellona.
Certo. E infatti mi chiedevo anche, diciamo, come, oltre alle sfide, qual è un po' anche la tua visione di portare questo modello in Italia? Cioè, dove ti piacerebbe che arrivasse? Quali sono gli obiettivi anche nel breve termine? Vi state allargando come team, come struttura? Quali sono un po' i next step per Worldcoo in Italia?
Guarda Matteo, noi lavoriamo su 3 canali: il canale dell'e-commerce, il canale del corporate e il canale del retail. Evidentemente l'obiettivo principe è il canale del retail, con l'arrotondamento solidale sul punto vendita, e è anche lo strumento più difficile da realizzare, perché non dipende dal nostro dipartimento tecnico solamente. E quindi sicuramente l'obiettivo a breve termine è quello di avere un primo caso da raccontarti, con dei numeri reali da darti, e dopo questo io sono convinta che ci sarà, perché ho sentito le aziende, che è anche più il mio mondo, il mondo del retail, le aziende con cui ho parlato, e parlo di grandi catene, sono tutte pronte ad attivare questo sistema, che dà un ritorno in immagine, che dà una partecipazione al cliente finale, una fidelizzazione importante, e con il quale si riescono veramente a realizzare grandi cose con la partecipazione di tutti, che è anche una questione culturale, se vuoi, è anche un modo di educare al fatto che tutti quanti possiamo fare nel nostro piccolo qualcosa, perché 10 centesimi magari per noi non sono nulla, però 10 centesimi moltiplicati, per esempio in una catena di supermercati, con 10 centesimi possiamo arrivare a raccogliere in un mese 60.000 euro, per dire 60-70 mila euro. Quindi diventano dimensioni importanti che possono realizzare veramente grandi cose. E quindi l'obiettivo per Worldcoo è quello di poterti raccontare a brevissimo, spero veramente a brevissimo, dei primi numeri realizzati applicando l'arrotondamento solidale presso una catena. Adesso non ci posso dire, non ti posso fare nomi.
No spoiler, però li vedremo questi spoiler. Ok, grazie mille davvero Rossella per questi insight e per la tua testimonianza e aver raccontato anche diciamo, Worldcoo non solo dal punto di vista di una startup based a Barcellona, ma anche il punto di vista di un progetto di espansione che sta arrivando anche in Italia, quindi grazie mille.
Matteo, io ringrazio te per l'opportunità che ci hai dato, per la possibilità appunto di raccontarci, mi ha fatto molto piacere conoscerti. Spero di sentirti prestissimo con altre grandi novità. Complimenti anche per ciò che fai. Mi piace anche la gioventù che inserisci nelle tue interviste che ho visto.
Grazie mille, grazie davvero.